Hello everyone. In this video, we will solve for right triangle using basic trigonometric functions of sine, cosine, and tangent. The first step is to learn to label the right triangle correctly. In this triangle right here, I will label it as A, B, C. As a reminder, C is always the 90-degree angle, and opposite to C is a small letter c, which is the hypotenuse. Opposite to the angle A is a small letter a. Opposite to the B is a small letter b. So for this triangle here, I will label it as B, A, C. Again, C is the hypotenuse. Opposite to A is the small letter a, and opposite to B is the small letter b. Alright? Okay, so make sure that you keep that in mind. And remember the Pythagorean theorem that we have learned in previous lesson. We may have to use this as well to solve for the right triangle. And the trigonometric ratio in relation to the right triangle represented by sine, cos, and tangent. And a reminder to everyone that we have the abbreviation here, okay, representing sine as opposite over the hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over the hypotenuse, tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. I also want to remind everyone that opposite and adjacent are the term to describe the sine, okay? And if the sine is opposite to the angle, then it's called the opposite. If the sine is adjacent to the angle, then it's called the adjacent. We will clarify all that in the next example. Okay, so example 1 asks me to label the following right triangle ABC and write the 3 corresponding trigonometric ratio. So what I will do is I will label my triangle as A, B, C. Again, C always the hypotenuse. So the C is the hypotenuse. Okay. Opposite to A is a small letter a. Opposite to B is a small letter b to present them as the length of the sine. So now if I take a look at my angle A, for angle A here, I will write sine of A. So I would write opposite to A, okay, over the hypotenuse. So what is the length opposite to A? Which is a small letter a. So it's A over C. Okay, so you see that the abbreviation given to us as SOH. Okay, so this represents sine is opposite over the hypotenuse. So the next one I want to write is I want to write cos of A. So what is cos of A? Cos of A saying that is adjacent to A. Right? Okay. Over the hypotenuse. So in this case, adjacent to A would be B. So B adjacent to A. Alright, so B over C. So the abbreviation for that is CAH. So this represents cosine is adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the next one is the tangent of A. So tangent of A, I should say that as opposite to A over the adjacent to A. Okay, so opposite to A would be a small letter a. Adjacent to A would be B. So in this case, again, the abbreviation for that would be TOH. A, which represent tangent as opposite over the adjacent. Okay, so let's move on to example number 2. In this example number 2, I will label my triangle as again the same as the previous example, but I will work with the angle B. Okay, so I will label it as A, B, C. Again, this is small letter C, small letter A, and small letter B. So first of all, SOH. Okay, SOH representing sine. In this case, I will work with angle B. So sine of B is equal to opposite to B divided by the hypotenuse. So opposite to B would be a small letter b over the hypotenuse, which is C. Okay, the next one is cosine of B. So it's adjacent over the hypotenuse. So I will write cos of B equal to adjacent to B over the hypotenuse. What is adjacent to B? Adjacent to B in this case has to be A. So A over C. Okay. The last one is tangent, which is opposite over the adjacent. So in this case, tangent of B will be equal to opposite to B divided by adjacent to B. So I will write it as B over A. So these are the trig ratios that you will be using to solve for a right triangle. Depends on where your angle is, the opposite and the adjacent. The position of those sides depends on where your angle is. Alright, so let's go on to the next example. In this example, I am asked to solve for the right triangles ABC, given A equal to 36.3 degrees and B is equal to 14.5. So solve for the right triangle means that I have to solve for all their angles and all their sides. So in this case, I'm given A as 36.3 and B as 14.5. So I should solve for angle B. I also have to solve for sine A. I also have to solve for sine C. So note that you don't have to solve for the C angle, which is the 90 degrees. Okay, so here is the A and the B. Again, opposite to A is a small letter A, which is the one that I have to look for. And opposite to B is a small letter B. In this case, is equal to 14.5. So it's very important that we need to label our triangle correctly. And C is the hypotenuse, and I have to find C in this case. And A is given to me as 36.3 degrees. Therefore, I have to solve for the angle B. Okay, so let's start by solving for the angle B. So solving for angle B, I will take 36.3 away from 90 degrees. Because I know that in a right triangle, A plus B has to be equal to 90. Okay, so I should have 53.7 degrees. So this one is good. And the next one is I'm going to solve for the sine A. Okay, solving for sine A. What I'm going to ask you to do is you have to choose the trig ratios. And in choosing the trig ratio, you have to take a look at what value is given to you. So what I will do is we only use given information to work with. Okay? The reason I mention this is because the question asks us to solve to 3 significant digits, okay, to maintain the precision of our final answer. We should only work with the given information. The given information in this case is I will always work with the angle A and the sine B. Alright, so to solve for A, I am going to use tangent. Okay, and I will explain why I am using tangent. Okay, using tangent because here is my given information, which is A. Okay, here's my given information, which is B. So I have to solve for A. So you want to analyze. According to this angle A given to you, this A that you have to find is the opposite to A, and B is adjacent to A, right? So tangent is opposite over the adjacent. So I will write that as opposite over the adjacent. So what I will do is I will write tangent of angle A will be equal to the opposite, which is A, divided by the adjacent to A, which is B. And this information is given to me. This information is given to me. So let's write it down. So I got tangent of 36.3 degrees equal to A divided by B, given to me as 14.5. Alright, so now you creating an equation with one unknown. So now all you have to do just solve for this sine A. So in solving for A, what you do is you multiply 14.5 over to the other side. Okay, so therefore you take tangent of 36.3 degrees, you multiply that with 14.5, will give you the answer for A. Okay, so bring this operation to the other side of the equation, divided by 14.5, bring it over to the other side, I multiply by. Alright, so let's use our calculator to calculate this. Okay, so let's get back to our calculator. Again, a reminder to everyone that we should have a degree to work with. Therefore, that's a degree right there. So I will put in, you press this key. Okay, so press that key. You should have tangent right there. And then you put in 36.3. Okay, press equal sign. Then I should have 0.734573028. Okay, and what I do is, now the next step, if you press the multiplication sign, okay, so when you press the multiplication sign, your calculator will have something like this, answer multiplied by. So that means it will take this answer and multiply by. So now you are going to key in 14.5. Okay, so I put in 14.5. I should have the answer as 10.65130891. So, but I need to round to 3 significant digits. So here is the number 5. So I have to increase 6 by 1. So I should have 10.7. Alright, okay, so let's get back to our handouts. So what I will do is I will write A will be equal to 10.7 centimeters as 3 significant digits. Alright, okay. So solving for A, I've done that already. Now how about C? So in solving for C, again, as I mentioned, that I only work with given information to remain the precision of my numbers, or the accuracy of my number is very important because they asked me to solve the 3 significant digits. So I only work with the given information, instead of using A, if you use A, you already round this number. So you don't want to work with a rounding number. So I will find C with the given information. So again, with C, here's the one that you have to solve. Okay, the given information is A. So C is always the hypotenuse, right? It's a hypotenuse. And B is adjacent to A. So you have to look for the trig ratio that has adjacent and hypotenuse. Okay, adjacent and hypotenuse in this case would be cosine. Okay, so let's circle that. So I'm going to use cosine. Okay, so you are writing cos of 36.3 degrees will be equal to adjacent to this angle 36.3, which is 14.5, and divided by C, which is the unknown hypotenuse that you have to look for. Okay, in solving for C in this case, you need to bring C over to the other side. Then you have to divide cos of 36.3 degree to the other side. Alright, so let's use our calculator. Okay, so I'm going to erase what I have on this calculator and write down the new value that I should have. Okay, so that means you key in 14.5. Okay, so when you key in 14.5, you will see that. Make sure the degree is still there. And then you press this key. So then you will have that. Okay, divided by, all you do is just put cos. So cos. And then you key in your angle, which is 36.3. Okay, then you press the enter. So when you press enter or equal sign, okay, then my answer is 17.99167534. Okay, so now I need to round this to 3 significant digits. Okay, so 17.99, you need to look at this number 9, and then you are rounding this number 9. So that means you add 1 to this number 9. So your final answer should be 18.0 centimeter as 3 significant digits. Okay, so to get back to our handouts, and I will write that down for everyone. So in this case, I would write, therefore, C equal to 17.99, which is equal to 18.0 centimeters in 3 significant digits. All right. Okay. So let's work with example number 4. Again, we make sure that we label our triangle first. So I will label this one as C, always a 90 degrees angle. This is A, this is B. Opposite to B will be the small letter B. In this case, it's given to me as 16.5. Opposite to A is the small letter A. So in this case, it's given to me as 8.75. And C is the one that I have to look for. I also have to figure out angle B. I also have to figure out angle A. Alright, because solving for this triangle, I need to solve for all the angles and all the sine. And I already know that C is equal to 90 degrees. So angle A equal to question mark. B also I have to look for. And I also have to solve for C. Okay. Now, using the given information of B and A, I can solve for C first. Okay. Solving for C, I will use the Pythagorean theorem. So Pythagorean theorem said that C will be equal to the square root of A squared plus B squared. So in this case, here's what we need to do. We need to put square root of 8.75 squared plus 16.5 squared, and we will key this into the calculator with the brackets. So let's go to our calculator and we go from there. All right? Okay. So let me erase this from my last handout. Okay. Again, so here's what we do. We you still see that you still have a degree, and in this case, what you will do is you press this key right here, square root. Okay, so I press the square root, so it will give me the square root sign. Then you press this bracket, then open the bracket, and I key in 8.75. Okay, 8.75, and you press this x to the exponent 2 right here. So press that key, I will see that I have that raised to the exponent 2. Then you press the plus sign, okay, and then you put in 16.5, okay, press the x squared again, so to have that. Make sure that you press this key now in order to close the bracket. Okay, and then press equal sign. So I have the answer as 18.6765227. All right. So now I have to round to 3 significant digits. So 18.67. So I round this one, I look at this one, so I should have 18.7 as 3 significant digits. All right, okay. So I will write this as C will be equal to 18.7 centimeters in 3 significant digits. Okay, now solving for A. So in solving for A, or solving for B, so let's say I want to solve for B. All right, I want to solve for B. Okay, so in solving for B, is this angle that you have to solve. And I only use given information, so I use this one and this one. Okay, so B is opposite to B. A is adjacent to B. Therefore, I will use tangent. Okay, because tangent said that it is opposite over the adjacent. So you are going to write tangent of B will be equal to opposite to B over the adjacent to B. Okay, opposite to B, which is 16.5, adjacent to B, which is A, which is 8.75. Okay, so I would like to show everyone to work with this in one step using the calculator. So your next step, you would write angle B will be equal to tangent to the exponent minus 1, because tangent to the exponent minus 1 is the operation that allows you to find the value for B. And in the bracket, you will leave this 2 numbers. Okay, so let's go to our calculator. Okay. On our calculator, again, the degree sign is still there, so because we are working with degrees. All right? Okay. So I would ask everyone to press the shift key. Okay, press the shift key, and then you press this key. So then I will have, so the S will appear there. I still have the D somewhere here. So it will give me tangent to the minus 1. And then I put in this bracket. So put in the bracket. Then I key in 16.5. 16.5. So 16.5. Key in this division sign. And then I key in 8.75. So divided by 8.75. Make sure that I close the bracket. Okay, close the brackets. Now press equal sign. I press equal sign. I have 62.06285. Okay, so I know that this angle is in degree, so I have to round it to 3 significant digits. Okay, so round to 3 significant digits, it means that you look at number 6 and you round number 0. So 6 is greater than 5, so I will raise 0 by 1. So I have 62.1 degrees as 3 significant digits. Okay, so let's write it down on our solution. So I will have 62.1 degrees. Okay, now to solve for B, I already have that. To solve for A, all you have to do at this case is take 90 degrees, subtract your 62.1 degrees. Okay, so you are using the number that you found. And it doesn't matter in this case because you are subtracting from 90, and when you round it, it should be 3 significant digits as well. Right? Okay, so in this case, I should have B equal to 62.1 degrees and angle A equal to 27.9 degrees. Alright, thank you.